What's up everybody, this is Darksinne here, back to some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. Oh man, it has been a while since I've cast a game, and this is going to be one of the first ones that I do in a long time, but one of the ones that I have been quite excited about. A couple of swears coming down between these two players. We will see exactly how that plays out, because today's match is going to be a PvP between Root Minigun down at the bottom left hand side, a very well known player, Root Minigun being one of the American players I believe, playing for the Root clan. But yeah, we all know his style and we all know how he loves to do it. We saw a lot of his work in Shoutcraft, I believe, so that was quite interesting to see as well. But up at the top right hand side is going to be Skiblet. Skiblet is one of the up and coming South African players actually, which is why I am casting this game. It's quite an interesting game to see, so we'll have to see exactly how this plays out. I'm quite interested to see exactly how he does versus Root Minigun. Root Minigun is of course in the Grandmaster League, while Skiblet is in the Master League only, but we've seen a lot of players do well despite that anyway, so we'll see how this goes down exactly. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about this map quickly, because this is actually a really interesting map, especially for PvP, because a lot of times in PvP the biggest problem a lot of players face is economy. One of the things that you would like to do in PvP is expand before your opponent successfully. Keep in mind that I do say successfully, because a lot of times the expansion timings for both of these players, let me just get that production tab up, excuse me guys, a lot of times what you'll have is one player punishing another player, or his opponent rather, for expanding earlier than him, because he spent time building his army, which is also a very interesting thing to see. So we'll see how this plays out. There are a couple of ways for this game to go. Wait, I didn't finish that comment about the map actually. What I wanted to say is that because you cannot forge fast expand on this map, which is probably the safest way to expand in PvP, is because of this area over here. Look at how massive this ramp area over here. There are areas over here which you can try to close off, but you will do that very unsuccessfully just because of like these massive ramps over here. Even though there is this destructible debris over there, you will have a very hard time closing off this ramp to any sort of ground army. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that your army is big enough to make sure that you can move down to this area to expand. Among those things are also the debris down in the middle, which is going to prevent any sort of early rushes. So this game, this map really allows for a very macro heavy style, but it forces you to use a single base play for a very long time until you're comfortable enough to be able to move out of your base. Anyway, as I was saying then about the differences in about some of the predictable strategies that you might have in PvP are going to be either blink stalkers, which is quite common to see in PvP, especially with the way the metagame is going at the moment. A lot of blink stalkers coming out early, and maybe perhaps a little bit of harassment from that, and a lot of players would either transition into Void Race from that, or Colossus, depending on how your opponent has been reacting to your harassment. So we'll have to see exactly how these players do it. This is going to be very interesting to see, because it does look like we have quite a couple of is that a couple of gateways, and then where's the Stargate coming down? That's coming for Root Minigun down at the bottom right hand side, trying to hide it behind his mineral line, meaning that it's going to be unlikely for Skiblet to scout that. But it does look like he is moving out with a couple of stalkers right now, and one stalker moving around over here. It looks like Root Minigun is being quite particular about searching for any sort of sneaky plays. So we'll have to see exactly if Skiblet does try something like that, but I don't think that he is going to be doing that, because right now he's going to be quite aggressive with a couple of stalkers right now. I wonder if Root Minigun does seem quite prepared for this, because he does have some sentries up at the top of the ramp, which is exactly what you need for any sort of early push, especially if your opponent doesn't have blink yet, and it doesn't look like Skiblet has gotten it yet, because he's going for a Robo Bay rather than to go for his blink, which is also interesting. Root Minigun are getting an excellent scouting opportunity over here, seeing that the army is outside there with that hallucinated Phoenix. Brilliant, actually. Perfect timing for that. Actually, I think he does check those timings. So he does see now that the army is coming, and he's going to put down a... oh man, I think Skiblet might have accidentally Miss Micro, they're unfortunately not being able to get up to the top of that ramp, and now, just because Root Minigun is so good at what he does, he manages to keep that ramp force fielded, which is pretty great for him. This means that the entire harassment opportunity for him is sort of lost right now. He could try to move up the ramp again, but with 4 sentries up over here, I think that's going to be unlikely. Root Minigun is trying to, I keep calling him Root Minigun, just Minigun, is trying to make a move over here, trying to harass this area over here, but fortunately Skiblet is quick enough with his stalkers to prevent that harassment, so it basically means that this Oracle is going to be shot down. Is it going to come in here and get killed? Oh, that's so close! Nope, and he does manage to move out quite successfully. Good thing for him then that he doesn't take that damage, because losing an Oracle is unfortunate, but I must say that because of Skiblet's defense now, that Oracle is pretty much made useless, so losing it is probably not the worst thing, just because you're not going to be seeing that again. We do have the expansion coming for both players right now. Skiblet slightly ahead on that expansion, meaning that his money is going to be slightly better than Minigun, but let's just actually have a look at the probe count quickly, and it looks like it's pretty much 1 for 1, and Skiblet is ahead by 1. You say that, but it's only... It's a decent amount of percentage, I think, that actually makes up for that. But now we do have Minigun already transitioning into Void Rays, so this will be interesting to see, especially because of the high stalker count of Skiblet. If that ends up hurting him or helping him, you never actually know. You need to outnumber your opponent's stalkers with your Void Rays in order for them to be successful. So we'll have to see exactly how that goes. Minigun, excuse me. Minigun moving out once again with his army, just scouting all over the place, sending out another hallucinated Phoenix, making sure that he has the scouting intel to be able to tell what his opponent will be doing with all of that money that he's got now. And he does see the Robo Bay. Does he see the expansion? I think he does see some sort of movement over there. Let's just quickly have a look over here. Yes, he does know about the expansion at this point, so he's just going to be moving up here, waiting a little bit. There's not too much tech going on, but there you have it. That is exactly what he wants to see, wants to be sure about, but that's what the map looks like at the moment. Skiblet does have a couple of observers out around the field to be checking for drops. I think this is actually really good work on his behalf, because especially in PvP, drop play is some serious stuff, man. Like, I always get caught off guard by that, but that's just because Silver League players do get caught off guard. We do have the Twilight Council going down, so we might be seeing... We do have a Templar archive on the way. I don't know if we'll be seeing Blink yet, just because the economy of Skiblet might not allow him to do that, but he does have a lot of gas at the moment, so he can spend that on some Templars, which is going to be great for him. We'll have to see how that goes. Minigun moving out again with some more scouting intel from these hallucinated Phoenixes, so we'll have to see exactly what he sees from that, and if that works out for him for the better. We do have a robo facility at this point. Skiblet also seeing quite a decent amount of intel flying in through here, seeing that there are a lot of gateways. He does see the Templar archives. Does he see that it's researching yet? No, it is still not researching, so that's pretty good for him at this point, knowing that he's slightly ahead in that regard. Skiblet is sitting on a bit of gas right now. I think that he might be sporting in a couple of Templars. That is exactly what he's going to be doing. Is he going to be turning those into Archons? I'm not quite sure yet, because he doesn't have the research for the Templar archives yet, for the Psionic Storm. So we'll have to see how that goes. Skiblet does manage to see that the army is moving out right now, and I don't know if that is an aggressive army, but that's pretty much the point of the observers, to just see that the army... just to see where the army's positioning is at the moment, so that's going to be good. Minigun dropping a couple of these pylons down at the bottom here. I don't know if he'll be using those to attack soon, but you can tell that the expansion timing of both players are quite equal at this point. Both players are quite macro heavy in this game so far. Not much action going on really, just a lot of tech being dropped down for either player, and a lot of scouting intel, which means that one player might be countering and the other one might not be. I think the problem is at the moment is that Skiblet is not checking what's going on the inside of the base of Minigun at the moment, so he won't be seeing exactly what is going on for his opponent. But I can't say that there's too much tech going down either. We do have a forge going down, so there might be some research. We do have a robo facility, or robo bay with the robo facility, which will allow Minigun to start producing Colossus, which is pretty common, as I said, in this matchup. So we'll have to see how that goes. Transferring a couple of probes down over here, maybe just to get some decent mining in. I'm actually quite curious to see what the income is. The income is pretty good for both players at the moment. It's going to be slightly higher for Skiblet at the moment, just because his expansion is finishing a little bit earlier. Do have a couple of cannons protecting that base right now as well. So and the Psionic Storm coming in as well, so we'll have to see how these engagements work out. I wonder how long it'll be before we do see an engagement. Let's actually just bump this up a little bit to see if we can have an engagement perhaps a little bit sooner than later. A couple of proxy pylons moving in over here as well, and we do have Skiblet seeing over here that the expansion is going on with 17 probes on minerals, so that's going to be great. Both players at the moment are looking to be building up their army. We do have a couple of Archons in Skiblets. Ooh, losing a little bit of supply over there, but that's perfectly fine for him. Mixing in a couple of Archons and a single Immortal into his army composition, leaving his Mothership Core at home. But it looks like he's going to be catching this this little bit of scouting intel over here, taking that out, getting rid of those hallucinated phoenixes. He puts his Templar, these High Templar over here. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing over there. They're actually really far away from the army. If Minigun really wanted to, he could snipe these immediately, and that would just be an enormous loss for Skiblet at the moment. Not that either player are struggling for money at the moment. We do have quite a lot of gateways up for Skiblet, which is going to be great for him. And at the moment, the Minigun's army is looking quite devastating. He has a very menacing army composition with some Void Rays, Colossus, 5 Colossus I believe that is, and some Zealots and some Sentries. So I'm not actually sure how to beat that, especially with the differing compositions. I don't know how this is going to go down. Skiblet is going for his expansion already, going to be much earlier than his opponent Minigun. So we'll have to see how this engagement goes down. It looks like both players are moving into this area right now. Skiblet can see this with his observer. He does see the army moving, and he does he react? Does he move into position? It looks like Minigun is going to try to open up this area over here so that he can engage, and it looks like Skiblet is going to try to force him into this choke over here to maybe attack him with some of those storms, which is going to be brilliant. So we'll have to see how that goes down. But I don't know if he has an answer exactly for those Void Rays. And especially the Colossus, which I think is up to 7 now, 7 Colossus count, which is going to be quite ridiculous. I don't think he has the Immortals to be able to take care of those. We'll have to see how this goes. Is he going to be able to, is there anything that he can really feedback? So no, he just drops a couple of Storms, which is going to eat away at the Zealots that are actually just tanky units in the front anyway. Unfortunately losing a couple of High Templar already. So is he going to be able to push this back? He does eat up the first army, the initial army, but it looks like most of Minigun's forces are still alive at this point. He didn't lose too much. I think he actually only lost... Oh, it does look like he is behind in the units lost though, so we'll have to see exactly how that works out. Skiblet already transitioning into the extended thermal lance, meaning that he is going to be, excuse me, he is going to be taking up with some Colossus, so we'll have to see how that works out for him. Only one single Colossus at the moment though. I don't know if Colossus versus Colossus is exactly the right move, but there you go. Coming in for another engagement over here. He does get a nice swipe off on those Colossus. Is he going to be able to cause any sort of damage? A perfect time warp there, actually able to almost catch that Colossus. So close, really. Didn't actually get it. Unfortunately, that was so close to him actually getting that out, so that really would have helped him at this point. But right now, each player is sort of just engaging sort of aggressively. I don't know how exactly this is going to work out. As I've said, it doesn't look like either player are doing particularly good in these engagements. Both players are having heavy losses in each one of their engagements, but it does look like the economy for both players are still quite strong. Minigun's expansion over in the middle is starting to look pretty good. I wonder if he'll be looking, if Skiblet will be looking to take another expansion either here or over here. I wonder if this game will reach that point, so we'll have to see. Let's speed this up a little bit again because there isn't much happening right now. Some Void Rays going in for a counter attack actually. Let's slow that right back down as I say that. So he'll be going in here for a counter attack soon. Will he be able to do anything about this? We'll have to see. I'm not sure if the attack timing from Minigun is perfect because he's not attacking at the same time over here. Able to be chased away by Skiblet's couple of Stalkers, so we'll have to see. I think that attack is just going to be completely shut down. Skiblet almost losing this observer. Pretty good babysitting from him over there with that. But I'm not sure if this composition is exactly what Skiblet needs to take on Minigun's composition at the moment. I think the biggest thing that is going to strengthen. Whoa, losing a couple of those zealots just to clear up some just to clear up some supply for something. I don't know exactly what he's going to be building. What is he building? He is building a dark shrine. Maybe that's to perform some counterattacks, because he comes in here with the war prism. What does he spawn in with this? Coming in with the war prism over here to defend as well, and a couple of these DTs slicing over here. They're not going to be causing too much damage because there isn't a lot of mining. There's not very much gas left in that assimilator either. So we move in with a couple of units over here to try and get rid of this. Unfortunately, losing a lot of units to this because he doesn't have any sort of detection in here yet. So what exactly will he do? He does have an observer coming up soon, and now I wonder if he will mix in some of his own. Actually, yes, that's perfect DTs. Because those are the perfect units that you need to counter DTs, is countering DTs with DTs that don't have observers with the what's the word actually? Detection. There we go. That's actually what the word I was looking for. But this DT, unfortunately able to snipe that Robo Bay for Skiblet, but a really good move for Minigun. That is perfect. What he needs right now is to take out some of the production of Skiblet. As I said, at the moment both players are sitting on quite a decent amount of money, and neither of them can really afford to lose production, because that's exactly what you need. If your army starts dying and you are sitting on a ton of money, you'd rather not lose your production, you'd rather lose something else. It does look like Skiblet's upgrades at the moment are 3-1 for armor, and then Root Minigun only has the 3 for the attack upgrade, so we'll have to see how this works out for him. I'm not sure if, as I said, the army composition is just not going to be working out for either player, but both players have been sitting on a lot of money for a long time now. I wonder when this engagement is going to happen, guys. I'm just so ready for this. I'm so pumped. Actually, we have a counterattack happening down at the bottom here, a counterattack, just any attack for that matter, but the counter to Zealots, as I said, are just DTs that do not have detection around them, so he will not be losing this Nexus, which is going to be perfect for him, able to clear that out. So that's going to be brilliant for him. Let's speed that up again so we can wait for the next engagement. Oh man, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to be a good engagement for either player? Let's have a look. Follow some of Root Minigun's forces. He's just moving around, waiting patiently, and he does have a Tempest mixed in now as well. Tempests are going to be brilliant versus some of these Colossus, so that's actually a really nice thing to see. I actually believe that attack from Minigun down at the bottom right hand side was almost just to get rid of some of those Zealots to make up space for these Tempests. Tempests are just ridiculous. When they get rolling, they can just do an enormous amount of damage to these Colossus. So that's going to be quite interesting to think, quite an interesting thing to see. And it does look like the army is moving out at the moment. I say the army, it's just the 3 Tempests. Are they going to be able to snipe one of these Colossus? Is Skiblet going to be ready? And it does look like he does lose that Colossus. Man, that is just ridiculous amount of damage from this Tempest. Unfortunately, Tempests are slow, so they are able to get away from Skiblet's ground forces. Well, I mean, almost unfortunately. Whoa, what am I saying? What am I saying, guys? There we go. He's almost not able to get away just because of the speed that they have at the moment versus the ground forces. Stalkers are so fast in comparison to these Tempests, and he's able to chase them away again, but he will lose even more Stalkers, and he will continue to lose them unless he finds an answer to these Tempests. I think that he really needs to look at a way of losing supply, clearing up some supply to get some air units up on the field, but I don't know if he'll have time for that because it looks like this engagement is going to be happening soon. Minigun slowly rearing to attack right now, moving in over here, taking out as many of the Colossus as he can, taking out some of the Stalkers as well. Taking out Stalkers are going to be great. Take them out so easily, just a shot from an enormous amount of distance with these Tempests, able to clear them out with the rest of his army. So we'll see what exactly Skiblet does over here. I don't know where his forces are. Some of them are up at the top of the ramp, some of them down at the bottom, and he'll just start clearing them out slowly. And it does look like this engagement is going to happen soon, and it just completely eats away with all of these Colossus with the extended thermal loss. Will take out the entire ground army for Skiblet, just completely destroying them. These obviously these Tempests are just ridiculously good. So we do have a lot of Archons, and losing an Archon is such an expensive thing, but it doesn't look like Minigun is going to be losing too many forces at the moment. He does have the 3-3 upgrade with the shield upgrade, so I don't know if that is going to be the answer for Skiblet is upgrades at this point, but it just looks like he completely melts away to this massive army, and those Tempests are just ridiculous. I think they ended up winning the game, really changing that tech for Minigun into his favor. But there you have it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.